they get their fill before they think of poisoned meat and poisoned drink. So he sampled all that springs to birth from the many-venomed earth. First a little, thence to more, he sampled all her killing store. Then easy, smiling, happy sound sate the king when healths went round. They put arsenic in his meat and stared aghast to watch him eat. They put strychnine in his cup and shook to see him drink it up. They shook, they stared as white's their shirt. Them it was their poison hurt. I tell the tale that I heard told, Mithridates, he died old. That, you see, is a poem from the Greek poeia, meaning to make. It's a finely wrought piece of art. It's carefully chosen, carefully ordered words that say, perhaps better than could any half-hour speech or sermon or whatnot, say better about how important it is to prepare for evil in life so that when life throws it at you, it won't destroy you. Well, I want to suggest to you tonight that this is rather what Gutzon Borglum accomplished for us on the cliff of Mount Rushmore. Mount Rushmore is poetry in massive stone. It says, perhaps better than could any semester-long class in civics, something of what it is to be a citizen of this nation. I want you to consider that the four people whose faces are on Mount Rushmore were four very different men. They came from different parts of the country. We have two Southerners, a Westerner, and a Northerner. Two Virginians, an Illinoisan, a New Yorker. They ranged across the political spectrum. George Washington finally, at the end of his life, admitted he was a die-hard Federalist. Thomas Jefferson is the father of the Democratic Party. Abraham Lincoln was our first Republican president. Theodore Roosevelt was a Republican, but also very much a progressive, splitting from his party in 1912. I've always thought it would be interesting to get Thomas Jefferson and Teddy Roosevelt in the same room to talk about the presidency. They had very different views of what that office ought to be. Thomas Jefferson believed in the most limited of government. He believed that the president ought not to be able to do anything unless the Constitution specifically authorizes him to do it. Theodore Roosevelt, on the other hand, believed that the president ought to be able to do anything the president must on behalf of the American people unless the Constitution specifically prohibits him from doing it. Think of it again. Four very different men from different parts of the country with different political viewpoints, and yet all of them contributing to the life of this republic in a magnificent way. And folks, in this I want to suggest that they are symbolic of us. In a crowd of Americans this size, I'm betting that we run the gauntlet across the political spectrum from left to right and everything in between. We in this place tonight are from the north and the south and the east and the west. We are descended from, or maybe are even first-generation Americans from Europe, Africa, the subcontinent, Asia, Southeast Asia, the Pacific, all over the world. We represent many different religious traditions, and some of us, as is our right as Americans, represent no religious tradition at all. We're all of us, folks, very, very different. And yet all of us, together, have inherited a legacy of freedom and democracy. Not a legacy to be blithely taken advantage of or to be taken for granted, but a legacy to improve upon together and then to pass on. When George Washington left the presidency in 1797, he wrote a farewell address in which he said a lot of things, but among these things he said this. He said, "For according to the systems and policies the state shall adopt at this moment, they will stand or fall. And according to their confirmation or lapse, it is yet to be decided whether the revolution must ultimately be considered a blessing or a curse. A blessing or a curse, not to the present age alone, for with our fate, said Washington, will lie the destiny of unborn millions to be involved. Well, folks, we are Washington's unborn millions. But the burden has not been lifted because each generation of us bears a legacy to the next. And I believe that Mount Rushmore asks us, among other things, to ask ourselves, what kind of a legacy are we going to leave? Not building barriers between ourselves and people who are different from us, and then in this uncivil age, hurling accusations across them, but listening to one another for a change. And not just tolerating one another, but respecting one another. And the gifts that we, all of us, bring together to this body politic, what kind of a legacy are we going to leave? I began with a poem, and by your leave, I'll end with another one. It was written by Jean Patrick. It was written about this very place. And it goes like this. We are the people. We share the dream of this mountain. We come from all places to visit these faces that look across our land. We remember our history. We think about our democracy. We are grateful for our freedom. Our faces join their faces as we look to the future. For we are the people. Ours are the faces on this mountain. Ladies and gentlemen, the National Park Service once again warmly welcomes you to Mount Rushmore and to our evening program tonight. And on behalf of the National Park Service, I want to let you know that yours are the faces here that really count.